From disappearing after an Area 51 encounter,
put your hands up, I'm not going to tell you again,
to vanishing after a couple fight gone wrong.
See, I grabbed like with his nail, and I guess that's why I definitely have a cut right here.
Here are the 8 most disturbing YouTube disappearances and why. Starting with the father-son duo Mac Adventures, who went missing after their adventures exploring Area 51. On May 30th, 2016, Joe and Garrett Mack would explore a lesser-known Area 51 back gate, only to see an ominous warning.
We've gone to every other gate, and this is the only one that I've seen that says use of deadly force authorized.
Nevertheless, their sense of adventure got the better of them, and the Macks returned to the scene just 4 months later. But this time, luck wasn't on their side.
I'm not going to tell you again, turn around.
You got anything on you?
Nope.
No, sir.
Worse, while the two were let go after a pat-down and threats of a ticket, things didn't end there.
Oh my God, the Kayla dudes are chasing us! They're gonna put us in Area 51 jail.
Fortunately, it seemed like the duo were able to escape safely.
We made it. How crazy.
But when they didn't post again, fans got concerned and speculated that the two were silenced, unalived, or even experimented on. But none of those came close to the truth. And 3 years after their disappearance, Garrett Mack finally spoke out.
Main reason why we stopped YouTube. Every single thing that we had got corrupted. And so that was the end of Mac Adventures, because we didn't have the money to go do more trips. We didn't have the footage to make money off our previous trips.
To make matters worse, Joe Mack's health began declining, which reinforced Garrett's decision to leave YouTube for good and work a normal job to support himself and his father. But where Mac Adventures made the decision to disappear, YouTube magician Magic of Rahat was forced to disappear after a prank turned out horribly wrong. On March 4th, 2014, Rahat would prank a homeless man named Eric by giving him a fake lottery ticket, but because the clerk was also on the prank, Eric would actually win money.
You won $1,000.
You're kidding me, right? I would like to share it with you, big guy.
The video went viral, prompting Rahat to fundraise over $44,000 to gift Eric what he'd always dreamed of just 2 months later.
This is your house.
You got to be kidding me.
We got this for you.
But 4 years after this, Eric claimed in a now-deleted video that he never received the money raised for him.
He said that you have a joint bank account with him. Do you have any access to that money?
No, I don't.
Did you have any access in the past to that money?
No. He always had control of the entire account.
4 months after this shocking declaration, Rahat tweeted that Eric was lying and he could prove it. Although he never gave any proof and instead pulled a grand disappearing act, completely vanishing from YouTube after April 30th, 2018. Nobody would hear anything about Rahat for 2 more years until August 3rd, 2020, when J-Law made a fantastic documentary about him and spoke to Rahat's former cameraman, Trey.
From my understanding is that Eric was being very harassing to Rahat, asking him for more and more money of that pot. And Rahat eventually got tired of it and relinquished the entire account to Eric. I can say from the bottom of my heart, Rahat didn't steal that money.
3 months after Trey's defense of Rahat, the man himself returned to YouTube, revealing Eric's true nature.
He was starting to ask me for a lot of money in a very short amount of time. And then I started catching him in these small lies. I would confront him. He would just blow up, get angry at me, aggressive.
And when Eric's exposed video went viral, Rahat became certain no one would ever believe him, quitting YouTube and falling into a deep depression.
If it wasn't for that documentary, I don't know what would happen to me. At that point, I knew I had a fighting chance.
Since then, Rahat has returned to YouTube, posting more of the prank videos he was known for. Unlike hiking YouTuber Snakebit McGee or Kenny Veach, whose hiking disappearance had the police searching for over 50 hours. While hiking in Nevada near Area 51 and the Nellis Air Force Base, Kenny would come across something strange.
I'm looking for a cave, it's a big cave that looks just like a gigantic M, and it's about as tall as I am. Something about that cave just spooked me. Out of all the caves I've ever gone in, this one just made my body vibrate.
He hiked through the mountains north of Las Vegas for 10 long hours, but couldn't find what he was looking for.
That is so weird. I mean, I thought for sure I was just gonna be able to find it.
Still, Kenny didn't give up and planned another hike barely a month later, telling his girlfriend, Sherion, that he'd be back in a few days. But when days passed without word from Kenny, Sherion reported him as missing, starting a police investigation that quickly took a concerning turn. Police found Kenny's phone abandoned near an old mine with no sign of Kenny himself. Some speculate he died in that cave to something terrible. Another theory, however, suggests that the cave may have been a metaphor for Kenny's mental health struggles, which is supported by his girlfriend Sherion sharing that he battled depression and likely committed self-unaliving. However, where Snakebit McGee's case remains unsolved, British beauty vlogger Marina Joyce's odd video made viewers speculate she was kidnapped. In July 2016, Marina would upload a video trying on a dress sent by a sponsor.
So this is me just advertising her clothes?
Her unblinking stare raised concerns, which were only made worse when viewers noticed another person directing Marina, pointing where to stand and bringing what seemed to be a script in frame for just a couple of seconds. Combined with the visible bruises, fans became convinced Marina was in danger and her videos were a cry for help. Nevertheless, the channel continued posting like nothing was wrong. This would be until 3 years later, on July 31st, 2019, when Marina disappeared, prompting her mother to report her missing. 10 days later, Marina was found by Haringey police, who assured her fans she was safe and sound. But the mystery around her disappearance remained for 3 more years until Marina finally explained everything.
I went through a lot back in that time. The reason why in my videos I was so weird and laggy and like not well, one of the reasons was I actually was going to parties, and eventually like going to these parties just really brought me down and led me down a really dark path.
She also discussed her extremely dangerous diagnosis, which was responsible for some of her unnatural behavior back in 2016.
When I went missing, the reason for that was because I was going through so much mental stress. I actually ran away from home. All that kind of stuff was because I actually was going through MS. So if you don't know what MS is, it's multiple sclerosis, and it's a condition where your body will eventually die. It's kind of like cancer, but it's not as bad.
Marina has since started uploading again, and fortunately seems to be doing better. Unlike YouTube's funniest Fortnite creator Fearless, who went missing overnight, leaving his 10 million fans abandoned forever. In 2019, Fearless would first worry his fans by not uploading for months, only addressing their concerns nearly a year later on February 1st, 2020, in a video joking about his health.
Guys, I've just gotta say, if y'all watch Fearless, he died. He was at the hospital and he died because of this infection.
Right after this video, Fearless would go missing again, with viewers only getting a glimpse of hope in a stream nearly 5 months later.
It's been a while. I don't want to get into why I haven't been uploading stuff, but it's personal. It doesn't matter. What matters is I'm gonna upload soon.
In this stream, viewers noticed Fearless sounding depressed and close to crying. However, he would still upload as promised, though half a year later. A month after this upload, Fearless posted Minecraft Oof, a deviation from his usual content, which would become the last video on his channel as he stopped posting entirely. No one knew what to make of this disappearance until June 12th, 2021, when a small YouTuber accidentally ended up playing Fortnite with Fearless, proving that he's at least alive and gaming. Now, it's been over 3 years with no updates since his mysterious disappearance. Though in contrast to Fearless's sudden disappearance, van life vlogger Gabby Potito's missing person case shook the entire US. On August 12, 2021, Utah police would encounter Gabby and her fiance after a bystander reporting Brian hitting her.
See, I grabbed with his nail, and I guess that's why I definitely have a cut right here.
Despite the admission, Gabby insisted she was the one to start the fight.
I definitely hit him first.
Where'd you hit him?
I slapped him.
You slapped him first?
And seeing her distress, the case was written off as a mental health crisis, which turned out to be a tragic decision as a month later, Gabby's mother reported her missing. Police questioned her fiancé Brian for clues, but just 2 days later, he too mysteriously disappeared. 8 days after Gabby's missing persons report, police came upon their first big break, finding human remains in the Grand Teton National Park where Gabby was last seen. Confirming the remains to be Gabby's, law enforcement determined she was strangled to death, renewing their search for Brian in hopes of answers. But just a month later, the case came to a devastating close when Brian was also found dead, having taken his own life alongside a notebook confirming he had unalived his fiancée. Fortunately, unlike Gabby's tragic passing, Corp's husband's disappearance was a direct result of his career as a faceless YouTuber. On March 17, 2021, Corpse would open up about the darker side of his YouTube success.
I was and still am dealing with so much mental When I was doing those Among Us streams first starting, literally 20 minutes before some of them, I was literally my face with razor blades.
Corpse's mental health was made worse by his decision to remain faceless.
In people's heads, I'm more of like a character or like a brand or like an anime character or something.
Yeah.
So they don't treat me as if I'm an actual person.
And with the internet repeatedly trying to dox him,
Corpse's husband's face was just leaked online, and you won't believe what he actually looks like.
Corpse was running out of choices, with the final nail in the coffin coming when Corpse's physical health started declining even faster than his mental health.
I have no f***ing clue why I just randomly woke up one day and couldn't move my arm. It's just a lot of pain. I remember crawling to the door to get groceries and barely being able to do that.
And 7 months later, Corpse posted "choking my friends" before completely disappearing. Since then, all we know is that Corpse is alive and focusing on his musical and voice acting career, although it's unknown if he ever intends to return to his fans. Although where Corpse made the decision to disappear, GunTuber FPS Russia, or Kyle Miles, disappeared following his arrest. On March 29, 2013, Kyle would get raided by the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, Firearms, and Explosives for allegedly using illegal explosives on his channel. Fortunately, Kyle was able to prove his innocence. But 4 years later, the YouTuber was raided again, silently disappearing from his channel before revealing the full story 2 years down the road.
I had a gun that had been coded by another company, and they had like coded over one of the serial numbers, and they were trying to hit me with this sort of destruction of a serial number on a firearm charge, which is like a 10-year federal sentence.
But that wasn't the only charge against Kyle after authorities found 25 grams of illegal butane hash oil in his possession.
The final charges was possession with intent to distribute. The intent to distribute was because they had proof that my girlfriend smoked a joint at my house one time. I never sold any drugs to anybody ever.
Worse, since a now defunct law barred drug users from owning guns, Kyle also had his entire gun collection confiscated.
They took $400,000 worth of guns? Holy cow.
With no guns and no legal means of buying new ones, Kyle stopped posting after April 17, 2016. And this disappearance became permanent once the GunTuber was sentenced to 56 days in prison and 2 years of probation.
Obviously, felons aren't allowed firearms, but people who are on probation aren't allowed, like, anything. Like, I can't even have, like, pepper spray.
But where FPS Russia's career as a GunTuber is over, Kyle's legacy continues, the YouTuber now a co-host of the popular Painkiller Already podcast.